I feel like if I've achieved the goal, it's not that challenging. Some people might say getting a college degree is challenging, but I don't really think so. I think if you got the money, you can go. Um, so I don't think that's challenging. I have been to China, which a lot of people didn't really, that's very challenging, but a lot of people didn't see it as that. They saw it as like complete insanity. I would say learning a foreign language is challenging, and I haven't done that. So it's hard for me to talk about things that I find challenging and that I've achieved because if I've achieved it, I don't think it's challenging. Most of the things I find challenging are things I haven't achieved, like things that are ridiculous, like becoming a zillionaire. Do you know if you made like, I think $1 a second, which is a lot of money, like that's a good return, it would still take you like 30,000 years to be like a zillionaire. So I'm not really sure why people make unrealistic goals for themselves, but one thing that did help me with goal setting is making a bucket list, and then that like really opened up my mind because then you look at bucket lists and you see what people do, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to Japan. I'm going whitewater rafting. I'm gonna go hug a koala bear, or whatever." You look up and like so it just frees your mind. And so I made a bucket list, and like one of them was like go to another country. Can't be Canada or Mexico because I feel like those are border cities. So like since then I've been to 7 countries, and then I put like learn to play guitar. Since then, I've like developed my own music, and like so, I just like overall, I think if you want to get better at goal setting, do a bucket list and about challenging things.
Right.
Eh,
I
uh,
mean, I agree with you with that. I do think bucket lists are a way to like keep yourself focused on what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like just keep like have something there. You know that could be done that you think is viable. I think I would do that. Create a bucket list just to be able to, you know, just stay on track and be like, okay, these are the things I want to get done. You know what I mean? But yeah, I like it. Mhm.
all right, cool.
And we can pause there. Okay, so if you could pick up your scripts and if you could read through your second prompt, prompt 2. So take a minute to read that to yourselves. And once you're both ready, participant B, you are the initiator for this one again. So feel free to begin.
Um, well, I've been a teacher before. I have to stay on my game for that. I actually like teaching because like I have to keep my kids in a real good routine because I usually work with early learners because in China it's actually the reverse. Usually you get more money at the university, but in China you get more money at the kindergartens and you should because that's where the brain is really developed. That's the most important years. Like you can turn a 3 to a 7 year old into a genius. You don't have that kind of a expansion with an adult no matter how many classes they take. So the time you want to get in there is when they're a kid, and so their routine is very important. And like how I just show up. Like I have very good timing. I show up. I don't make excuses about being late, even when I feel like I'm gonna be late. I'm on time. Like I have remarkably good timing, even with small things. Like I always open the door right with the woman who's holding too many boxes that need the door open. Like I just have like really good timing in life. So like it's easy for me to keep a routine and a schedule. And honestly, everybody in life would do better if they had a routine and a schedule. It's super important.
Do you have anything that keeps you on time, like an alarm or anything, or you have like that mental alarm that you just wake up and you know how to get there? You know what I mean?
Obviously, I use my alarm, but there are some days like I do believe in my definition of God, which is like this really powerful feeling that has nothing to do with me or even society or even the Bible. It's just sometimes it's like God is like an alarm. And sometimes God will wake me up and he'll because I have something to do. Like today, I was up at midnight. I was filling out a lot of applications. My wheels were turning about what I can do. And then, I have things to do. So I'm always debating. I'm always making decisions about what to do. I got my butt here. It turns out it's a really good opportunity for a quick cash grab. I need money. Everyone needs money. So, but God woke me up. He was my alarm. I set my alarm for 6:30. God had me up at midnight. That happens sometimes.
Mhm. So the teaching thing was that a taught in China, or did I read that wrong? Did I hear that wrong?
Oh yeah, I taught in China.
How was that? Like, how was any challenges there, or was it just like
Uh,
what did you teach?
if you're 22,
Mhm,
it's personal. For a young person, it's a great, extraordinary opportunity to save money. It's probably an opportunity to save money like you will never get in New York. because they pay for your rent, and then the salaries are pretty good. And then a lot of people come to New York for the big salaries, and you can definitely get them out here. But come on, there's lots of people making $20, $16 out here too. So, ha. But yeah, it's a great opportunity. But you got to have your degree.
Okay, we can pause then. And we're now up to prompt 3. So if you could pick up your scripts and read through prompt 3 to yourselves. And participant A, you are the initiator for this one. So when you're both ready, you can begin.
I mean, someone who has a calming presence in my life. It's probably my grandfather, right? I mean, he was very like he's very he doesn't like really talk. He doesn't really express his feelings. He sort of just in a corner, like how I am right now. Just sort of looks at the people that's around him. You know what I mean? And like he doesn't talk. He doesn't say anything. He just sort of like grunts or nods. You know what I mean? When he's talking to you, he sort of tells you, "Oh, hey," like if I ask him a question about something, he'll just go like that. And the reason I say he's very like he has a calming presence is because one time when I went to visit him, it was a hot day, and I was just in a hammock and I was just laying down and I just couldn't cool off. And he just came out of nowhere. I'm just there, just like irritated. He just walks up and just sort of like puts a rope over the tree and hands it over to me. And he just says, he just does this, right? And I grab the rope and I just swing it and it starts to cool off because like the hammock is moving side by side, right? And like when you're talking to him, you can't really say anything. You just sort of say like short sentences like thank you or anything like that, nothing like that. And you just say thank you, and he just sort of nods and just sort of like walks away, right? And he's just sort of like it's weird like that. Like he's cool, but he's so like he just walks in, he just sort of goes to the corner, sits there. You know, you just sort of like know he's there, you know his presence there, and you sort of like just like accept it, you know, like he's there. You know, he's just that guy, you know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain him. He's very weird. He was very weird, but like I don't know. He's so I don't know. He's so mythical. I guess you could say like he's so like there. You know, he's there. But yeah, Mhm.
It sounds like you have a very good connection with your grandpa. So where did he live? Because it sounds like outside the city a little.
Oh, he lives in Mexico. So the thing with like when I talk about him, it may seem like I'm close to him, but like throughout his life, we probably had like 5 good conversations that lasted more than 30 minutes. Right? I just see him as this figure because of the stories people tell me about him. You know, like my cousins who live with him, my mom, my aunts, my uncles. They tell me like these mythical stories about him, like how he got in a gunfight, he wins. You know what I mean? Like those type of stories. And like when you like vision him, you sort of think of this tall, big, like strong man, you know. But then when you see him, he's just this, you know, he's old guy, but like you know his story, you know his past. So like you sort of like idolize him, you know. And I idolize my grandpa, even though we talked like 5 times. Like I said, that actually felt like a conversation. I still idolize him. I still saw him as this great man, you know. But yeah, yeah, he's just that guy.
It's really cool that you can look up to your granddad like that. It's good you have a strong man figure in your life.
Right.
So, was your dad around or?
No, yeah, he was around. It's just like different circumstances, you know. Like my father, he like went through a lot of things. You know, he went to college. He did the whole thing. He did what was expected of him, right? While my grandpa, he wasn't really expected to do much because he was a man who was just like he was a ranch guy, you know, like he just herded cattle. I mean, doesn't really didn't like own land or anything like that. And by the time he was old, he would like owned a lot of land. He had all the things that weren't expected of him. You know, so different circumstances, different like different figures. You know, like my dad taught me like like you could if you're expected to do that, you will get there because you got the tools to do it. And my grandfather taught me like, oh, even though you don't have the tools to do it, you just gotta just crawl your way to it. You know, to your goal. And those are different things that they taught me individually. You know.
Yeah, it sounds like your granddad taught you a lot of good things. Did you can you tell me something that your one of the stories your mother would share with you?
Okay. There's a lot. I mean, just okay. I'll tell you this story just because it's like very like humorous, I guess, or very like just show how great of a man he is. I mean, there was this story, like legend has it, the way she says it, is he was a very good. He had a good shot, right? He knew how to like shoot with the rifle or revolver, and he was a great shot. And he was the best in town, right? And I remember he told me how a military man, like his army group, came to the town next to us, and sort of just started talking, saying, "Oh, I'm the best shot in the army. I could shoot from over here and all that stuff." And coincidentally, one of my grandpa's friends was there, right? And he said, "Oh, you really want to like test your skill? Go to the town over and test yourself, right? Challenge him." And he went over. He came to the town and he asked them, "Oh, word has it that you're the best shot. Like, I want to hear. I'm here to prove it. I'm a general. I'm this great man, right? Show me what you got." And my grandpa, like, what they used to do is they used to have those pigeons, a small pigeon in Mexico that had like a little small head like this big, right? Like a dove, right? And he said, "Okay, you see those the doves over there? We're each gonna take a turn, take a shot from them, try to take a shot, and whoever has a better shot, which is they're trying to aim for the head, wins, right?" And the guy, my grandpa takes his first shot, and he just gets it right on the bullseye, right on the eye, and his head just flies off. And the guy, he sees this, and he feels intimidated. Goes to the next dove, and he shoots him, and you can see, he tells me how his hand was shaking, and he shoots, and he just nicks the top of his head, right? To the point where like the bird was still alive and still like, which means that it wasn't a good shot. You didn't kill him with the first shot. And just right then and there, the guy just said, "Oh, I declare from this moment that you are the best shot in Mexico." You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a crazy story right there.
Yeah.
We can pause there.
But yeah.
And we'll move on to prompt 4. For this prompt, participants B, you are the initiator. Once you're both ready, feel free to start.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people distance themselves from their family at some point. And I think some people do it for like no reason at all. Like that boy they told you not to date was really a bad choice. So I think a lot of people split with their family for like very little reason, but I have very good reason. I'm not sure if I'm going to go into details, but uh, toxic relationships can really bring you down. Negativity breeds negativity, positivity breeds positivity. And I don't really like law of attraction because I think some of it's BS, but there is some truth to attraction that you magnetize things to you, opportunities, people. Um, and it can be challenging because someone's bad vibe can ruin your whole life. So you got to get out of bad vibes, bad situations. Like if you want to live more completely and fully. And that is how you can protect your physical self, your emotional self, your financial self, because usually if it's off, everything is off, So you got to get in the game, get aligned, get toxic stuff out.
Right. It's a lot. So what's it called? You, so you separated from your, not separated, but like took a break from your family just because of a relationship you had, or was that right or no?
Uh, nah, I took a break from my family because their activities are a little no good. Let's just say they don't come from the land of opportunity like some people do.
Right.
And any opportunity I get, I have to make extreme steps to get them, like move to New York,
Right.
go to China. They just live in a small town. Most people aren't willing to leave their small
I get
town.
it. So they're accustomed to like the same environment. They don't really want to change that.
It's hard to when money is always a problem.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I understand that. I sort of had the feeling too. I had that same situation, but not with my family, with my friends. I sort of felt like we were all in a slump where we just weren't going forward or backwards. We were just there, and I sort of had that like realization, like maybe it's the people that surround me. You see how people tell you, "Oh, you are what your people with the people you surround yourself with," right? And I sort of started believing it then, like maybe it's just the people around me that are just holding me back too. Turns out I was wrong, like it's just me, it's not people around you that affect you, because at the end of the day, you're the one who makes the choices, you're the one who actually does the stuff, right? And I just realized it was that, and I came back to them, I told them what happened, I told them what I felt, and I sort of felt bad because, we had a good friendship, and it sort of gave us a rift after I came back. So it was hard to go back to normal, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I sort of feel the same way that you feel. Like there's people that do have that sense of like wanting to separate people from people because they want to at like take that jump, take that leap,
Mhm.
even though people around you don't want to take it with you. So I know what you mean. I know how that feels, you know.
Now we can pause there. And we're now up to prompt 5. This next one's a little different. I think you've both done it before, but I'll just explain it quickly. So you each have a list of sentences, and in each sentence there is a bold word. We'll start with participant A, who will read the first sentence from their list, and as you read the sentence, you will do an action or gesture to accompany the bold word. Participant B, you will then respond, not with anything from your list, but just with what you think goes or is a fitting response to what has been said, and do an action or gesture to go with that verbal response. For example, if participant A was to say, I'm feeling confused, then participant B, you may respond by saying, why are you confused? However, there is no right or wrong answer here. It can be whatever you like. That would then be the first one complete. Then participant B would do the first sentence from your list. Participant A would then respond, and we continue on like that, alternating until we've completed both lists. If anything's unclear or if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
No, we're good.
If not, then participant A, you can do your first sentence when you're ready.
Okay. The plane flew over the city.
What a great view. The store is on the right.
The right.
Right.
The roads are perpendicular.
That's a big word.
Actually, it's a big word.
The lines are parallel.
What lines?
I don't know.
The park is near my house.
It's too much information. None of the lights are on.
Must be dark. The glass is full.
It's better to be full than empty. There are 6 cookies.
Can we share it?
Yeah.
She has 7 pencils.
Can I have one?
Oh.
The jacket is lightweight.
Yeah, it actually is. The bag is hefty.
Hefty, like a trash bag.
Yeah.
He's driving the car.
Is it a nice car?
It's super nice.
The bank is opposite the store.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go get that money. Then come see you at the store. She's cutting the paper.
Maybe make arts and crafts. Who knows?
Uh,
He's building a sandcastle.
I hope the waves don't wash it away. She's sitting. The hours are passing slowly.
It really is. I feel like I've been here forever. She is catching the ball.
Don't hit my face.
And we can pause there. And we're now up to prompt 6. And for this prompt, participant B, you are the initiator. When you're both ready, feel free to start.
I think when I was in 4th grade, like I just had a really good connection with, another 4th grader. Her name was Samadar. Like she had a very stupid name and she had a stupid personality. And like I liked it. I liked that she didn't really care. Like she didn't have like the kind of, even kids have like all kinds of garbage already. Like they already have things, and like I need the Ninja Turtle shirt or whatever, and I can only have this certain color and this certain crayon ever. Like they have things. They make their own little things, and Samadar was, I don't know. She really reminded me of like those stupid shows that came on Cartoon Network, like Cow and Chicken.
Mhm.
You know, she had a real dumb sense of humor. It was just low level humor, and like the 9-year-old version of me really liked the low level of humor. Like so, I got along with her really well.
Is there? Oh, you still guys friends or no?
Well, you know, she didn't really grow past her 9-year-old self, and I did. I thought we could reconnect later in life, but no, because I had moved a lot further.
Right. For you, what do you feel is like a good impression, like in general? I guess is like the way they dress, is it eye contact? What do you think is like one of those things that, oh, this person actually knows how to have a conversation, you know?
I think that people have a general pleasantness, and I think this is harder to pull off than a lot of people think. Because just smiling real big doesn't do it, and resting bitch face doesn't do it, and feeling insecure and awkward doesn't do it.
Right.
So I think you have a good vibe. Yeah, I think you're probably likable, very likable. I think most people probably find you likable. So that's a good thing. Are most people instantly likable? No, I think smiles help. At least in nature, they represent that you're trying to break bread, not be a threat. So
Right.
if nothing else, maybe smile.
Oh, so like those facial expressions, you know? Because I know what you're talking about, the resting bitch face, because I remember I met this person and they said hi to me, but then when they say hi, do you see how they give like a little side glance? You know, like that. And it just sort of rubbed me off the wrong way. Sort of felt like she was just sort of like hi, but like backhanded hi, like hey, like you know, back off. But I was wrong. I was totally wrong. It's just people are just born that way, you know, that they just have that face without realizing they have that face, you know? Like, and I feel like that's what people have, and I feel that's why people sort of like try to back off from some certain people because they're like, oh, why you have that face? Why you always making that mean look, you know, like mean mugging people? But it's not that. It's just that's how they were like born, I guess. They were how they were like, you know, like they were used to it, you know? But yeah, so like that's why I tend to always like not judge off someone just because of how they look or how they have that facial expression. I just sort of talk to them and I have certain questions I ask just to like sort of size them up to see what type of person they are. And then based off those first few interactions, that's when sort of make my decision. You know what I mean? I just don't like judging people off how they look, how they dress, because maybe they just haven't found the way they want to express themselves. You know? But yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah, I think the world would be a better place if more people thought like you. But I think most people make snap judgments, and I think
Yeah.
reading people's very hard because you can think everything went awesome, they hated you, and you can think everything went terrible, they loved you. Like so, you can't even being around people is hard because, like, if you're honest, if you're an honest person, you probably assume that this is why people are hard. You assume people are like you,
Yeah.
and they're not. People are very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way that it would be nice that people do feel that like give me like a little few more minutes, but they don't. You know, they have that snap, like you said, snapshot decision making that, oh, I'm not gonna like this person. Oh, they're pretty cool. Oh, and then turns out they were wrong. Yeah, so I wish it was like that, but I wish there were like more time. But you know, especially in New York when it's like go, 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 you know, they have that mentality of go, 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 even with friendships, you know. But yeah.
We can pause there. And if you could both just make sure you're right in the corner of the room for me, just so we can see you fully in the camera. Thank you both. And we're up to prompt 7. And for this one, participant A, you are the initiator. So when you're ready, you can start.
I mean, a time where I felt that someone was unhelpful or unresponsive to my needs. I mean, I'm a very like I don't really need much from people. You know what I mean? I'm just sort of like I could just go on with my own thing. But when I'm in a relationship, right? Let's just go with relationships. I feel that I just feel like when we go out, we make an effort to like have the whole day to ourselves, right? And most often than not, since it's New York, don't have that time, right? They don't have that time to like give you a whole day to you, right? But the thing is that like I feel like if I could do it, so can you, right? It doesn't have to be like just like a specific day. You could just sort of out of the blue, you have time, text me and be out. And I feel like been happening a lot recently where I just can't find someone who actually like likes to go out and just enjoy their day, the full of it, like the full day. And I don't know, it's just rough. But yeah, I just feel like it's not very like I feel like I need people that are around me most of the time. Like I'm not needy, but I do really appreciate if someone catches up to me, like just meets my energy. But
Okay, I'm gonna just go right into girl brain mode. Are you a Taurus?
yeah. No. I'm a Capricorn.
That was gonna be my second guess.
Right.
I would say that this is New York, and if you were in a small town, you could say, "Oh, baby, let's go on a hayride and just take the whole weekend." But this is New York, so
Right.
I think you should get used to maybe taking up an hour of someone's time for
Right.
coffee, letting them get to know you, and then also the brightest flame burns out the quickest. Like you know what one night stands are, but bam. And bye. Like,
Yeah.
so like sometimes, like, especially if you like someone, you really should slow down the pace
Right.
because, I mean, let's be honest, most of us are really lusting when we're crushing and we don't even know the person. And so if you move
Right.
too fast, it's just a mess.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I get it. I do. Like, I understand where I'm at, in New York, it's sort of like I said, sort of like go, go, go. And you just sort of don't have time to, like, have a whole day to yourself or to give to someone else. I understand that, but I'm just that guy. I just want to stick to that. Like, hopefully I find someone like that. But yeah. But until then, let's stay single.
I mean, I wouldn't say that you need to change your desires for your partner because that wouldn't be the right fit for you. But in the beginning, just be a little bit more realistic that, honestly, if someone's even agreeing to meet you, especially in New York City, that's a huge deal.
Okay, yeah.
And pause there. We'll move on to prompt 8. And for this prompt, participant B, you are the initiator. So once you're both ready, feel free to begin.
We're allowed to cuss?
You are.
Okay, so uh, I am a biracial woman, but I sort of grew up with white people. And then later on, I sort of ended up in the black community because I'm torn between two worlds. So growing up with white people, we didn't say the N word. And so when I was first exposed to the N word, you can't say it with the R, but you can say it with the G. So when I was first exposed to the word nigga, I was very confused. I thought like Coach Carter stuff, like y'all got to drop this word. You're teaching the white man to say it. It's a hateful word. It needs to drop from the dictionary. Later, I just I think Dave Chappelle said nigger was their favorite word. Kamala Harris said nigger was their favorite word. And then later I started understanding that people just really love the word nigga. And you can't think about it from like, even though it stems from slavery and history, and people will say, oh, we're reclaiming the power, and it has like all this controversy and animosity. It's really just a word people also love. They love it a lot. Like, I had an idea for a clothing line, but I have never developed where I was gonna have my nigga socks, my nigga shoes, my nigga shirt, because they always like, I don't know if you ever heard young black men interacting, but it's a lot of my nigga, my nigga, my nigga, my nigga. And at first I hated it, but now I'm like, what's up, my nigga? Because that's just, you got to blend.
Right.
And we'll pause there. And we'll move on to prompt 9. And we're going to do the same game we did previously. So just take one moment to have a look through your list of sentences. And when you're ready, we'll do exactly the same format as we did before. Please remember to do an action or gesture both when you read your sentence and when you respond. And participant A, you can begin whenever you're ready.
The lamp is next to the sofa.
The lamp is next to the sofa.
Yep.
Ah. The dog crawled under the bed.
Did it see something? Is it scared? Was it shaking?
It saw a squirrel. The elephant is large.
I expect it. I expect it to be large.
Right, right.
The mouse is small.
It looks pretty big to me. It's too big to be in this house.
The store is close by. It's like right next, right here.
Okay. Well, you can still go get the juice. The bottle is empty.
You were drinking last night?
The whole bottle. So,
I need more time. I just need more time.
time is up. We have 8 plates.
But we need 9.
There's 8.
There are 9 birds.
Is that the next prompt? Okay. Well, shoot one and then there will be 8. We won't need that 9th plate. The buildings are adjacent to each other. Adjacent.
Isn't adjacent right like across from each other? Or am I wrong?
I have no clue. Somewhere in space.
The feather is light.
Okay. Put it in your hat. The clapping. They are clapping their hands.
Must have been a good show.
It was a wonderful show.
They walked along the river.
It's a nice walk along the river. She is pouring the juice into a glass.
Hope it overflows. He is knitting. I don't know how to knit.
That was pretty good.
Like that. Is that crocheting?
I don't know, but that's pretty good, you know. So,
Pretty sure I was crocheting, but all good.
like you gotta have a big bowl of yarn, look like you're sharpening a pencil, maybe. She's living in the present.
The present, I live in the past, so I'm stuck in the past. He is jogging in the park.
Awesome.
The chapters at the beginning of the book.
I don't like to read.
Same.
And we'll pause there. And we're now up to prompt 10. And for this one, participant A, you are the initiator. So when you're ready, you can begin.
I mean, I'm not a very like. There was this one time in middle school where I was pulled into running for like student vice president or something like that, right? For my academy. And like I was pulled into it just because of my personality. I'm very like back then I was even more like energetic and more like hype. And I just sort of wanted to be the center of attention back then. And like, you know, they just saw, oh, he's a shoo-in, right? Like he's expected to do this type of thing, right? And they sort of like basically raised my hand for me, right? And like basically you have to during the campaigning, I guess, you have to give a speech and just say what you would do to change the academy and all that stuff, right? And I wrote a whole essay, I wrote a whole page and everything, and I was just not enjoying it because when I was on stage waiting to present, I realized I had stage fright, right? And it's something that I didn't realize I had because I was sort of like every time I'm with my friends, I'm the first one to yell. I'm the first one to like make everybody focus on me. But it turns out when it's not your friends and there's a whole group of people that you don't even know, you sort of like freeze up. And like it was bad. I mean, it was so bad. I still have like trauma from that. Like I went to on stage, it was everybody was quiet, and I just I felt my hands shaking when I was holding my paper, and just words weren't coming out, and it was just like I pictured them. You know, you ever picture like a moment where you're gonna be like I'm gonna do this when I get there. I'm gonna do like these little hand signal, like hand signs and stuff like that. Like make it really like. And then when I do it, people are gonna laugh or they're gonna clap. I tried doing like 2 of those things. I think I was gonna do like a whole like oh I'm gonna make you know what I mean? Like do that thing where I point at people in the crowd, and it was just not working. Nobody was like biting. Nobody was laughing. It was just like it felt so flat, and I lost. I lost the campaign. I guess I got like 1 or 2 votes. It was bad. It was just bad. It was terrible. But yeah, that's that.
I mean, I think it's pretty brave that you ran at all. And then public speaking is a thing. Like, I think they said, like, I think they did a study and people fear public speaking more than death. You know, so like if you have the gift of being able to stand in front of a crowd, that's a thing and it's a skill. I actually don't believe that, but that might be true. Because people don't even really talk to each other anymore, and like people don't even ask people's names anymore, and like, you know, so I'm thinking lots of people are having social anxiety. Like,
Right.
not only would they be terrified of public speaking, they're terrified of any kind of speaking. I don't want to say the wrong thing. What if this person doesn't want to talk? But like the social interaction, even on a micro level, is very challenging for people, and you can see that in society.
Right.
So, and I've had similar challenges asserting myself verbally,
Mhm.
and you know, you get better.
No,
Or
for sure you get better. Like in college, I took the social. I forgot what it was, but I took a class where you sort of speak and stuff like that. What is it called? I forgot what it's called. But and it's funny. I took it last semester, but we did it, and I got way better. Like I could talk in front of at least 30 people, at least, right? And hopefully it gets like I tend to like hopefully more crowds come in and I'll be able to do it. But yeah, I got better at it for sure. I took a few tricks. Like turns out if you take off your glasses and you can't really see their faces, it works. So I did that. And yeah, like you see how like people be saying, "Oh, take off your like picture them like naked." I just how about picture them at all? Like don't picture them. You know, just take off glasses, see the blurry faces, and just talk, and it works. It works. Yeah.
We pause there. And we're now up to prompt 11. So please read through the prompt yourselves. Participant A, you are the initiator for this one again. You can begin when you're both ready.
I mean, a time where I felt intimidated. There's not many times because I just sort of like grab it by the horns and just go with it. But like I remember as a kid, I was intimidated a lot because I grew up as a only child, right? And like my cousins had the advantage of having siblings, so they could like they had someone to back them up. I remember as a kid, there's one time I was supposed to do something and my mom got mad at me and you see you ever had that feeling where like you sort of like walk into the room and you know you're gonna get right. And like I remember my mom used to work in the mornings and used to get home at 8, right? So I had like probably like 5, 6 hours to myself thinking, what should I do, right? Like how am I gonna face this scenario, right? Where like my mom is gonna yell at me for sure, right? That was a given, right? Like you ever had that call and they sort of tell you like it's coming, right? And I remember, like for me as a kid, 8 hours, 7 hours is a lot of time, right? You have a lot of time to think. And I just thought of the worst case scenarios and it's just like, it's not looking good for me. And yeah, it was just one of those things that you just sort of like have to deal with as a kid, you're gonna get yelled at, you're gonna get your punishment. And like now, like as I grew up, now I sort of like accept it, right? I think at a certain age, when you're in trouble from your parents, you sort of like accept it, right? Like you're sort of you're not even fearing it anymore. You're sort of like, I just gotta take it, right? You don't even think about it. You don't like when it comes, and you just go with it, right? And that's how I feel like now. Like if there was ever a moment I'm in trouble at work, or at school, or my parents still, because I may be old, but I still have problems with my parents. I may have done something, but yeah. Now I sort of learn from those experiences. Sort of like, you know what, just take it. Like it is what it is. You know, you can't avoid it. You could probably just run. You may try to run away, but it's gonna soon to come. You know. But yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you've already learned to like face your fears head on. Like definitely, if you feel someone creeping up behind you, the best way to handle the situation is to turn around, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, confronting your fears is definitely the right approach. But you know, you never told me what you did
Oh,
uh, to get punished.
I mean, okay. So this was the realization. So this was in middle school. Because I remember my mom used to leave me food and tell me, okay, you take the bus to school, right? I remember one day I just woke up and I'm like, what if I don't? What if I just stay home, right? What if I just lay down and stay home? And I remember it was a Wednesday. No, it was a Thursday. And I stayed home and nothing happened. No phone call, nothing. I'm good. I'm clean, right? And then Friday came. I'm like, what if I do it again, right? Get a 4-day weekend. And I did it again. And on Monday, turns out the guidance counselor um, keeps track of that. No, not the advisor. What is it? The assistant principal keeps track of that, and they sort of say, "Hey, 2 days, you need a parent's note or a doctor's note," and I'm not gonna get either one. And yeah, so it went on for 2 days. We're like, "Hey, where's the doctor's note? Where's the parent note?" Nothing. And they're like, "You know what? I think I solved the problem, right?" They went. They called my mom. They said, "Oh, you know that he hasn't been coming to school?" And yeah, and that's that, right? That's that. And I got yelled at for sure. But yeah,
Yeah, I used to play hooky a lot myself. I used to not go to school a lot. But I know, like, when I was doing that, because I went to a lot of schools as a kid, I know that when I went to a new school that I was actively skipping in, it was because honestly, the education was a joke. When I'm talking about going back and forth between black and white communities, so I had just come from a white community. Believe it or not, they had better education. So these kids don't even know what like Mendel P plan is, big T, little t. They don't know recessive versus dominant genes. To me, they're stupid.
right, right,
And
right.
I'm not like diplomatic. I'm still me. And so I don't know how easy it is for these girls to want to jump me for being a little
Right.
smart mouth. So which brings me to my next question. Do you feel like you would have been playing hooky if like what was missing in your school that you were like, I don't even want to go?
Um, no, it wasn't nothing. It was nothing that school had. It was just like I would like during that time, during that era, as a kid, you sort of try to find ways not to go to school in general. And I remember I used to try to throw up because I was like, oh, because my mom was one of those parents were like, you throw up, you're staying home, you're probably sick, right? So I would try to throw up and stuff like that. And then I realized that my mom's not home, my dad's working, so there's no parental like over on me. They're not watching me. So what if I just stayed home for the day and you know what I mean?
So it wasn't really like that there was a deficit in your school, is that you just wanted to take advantage
Yeah,
of
take
being
a
able to
day.
get away?
Yeah, take a day off. Just take a day off early. Just have a long weekend, right? And like thinking back to it, I should have taken advantage of that because I think I just slept through the day. I didn't even do anything. I didn't like play my video games or anything. I just went straight to sleep and just woke up like when I had to like come home. That's it.
Maybe you needed sleep.
We'll pause there. We're now up to prompt 12. And participant B, you are the initiator here. So once you're both ready, you can begin.
Oof. I mean, I've crossed a lot of borders. Like, I'm like the reverse American. Like, I be illegally in other people's countries. I've literally crossed borders illegally. And I don't mean to find myself in those situations, but stuff happens. You go over on a work visa, something shady's going on. They might not pay you. Believe it or not, it's super easy to become an exploited migrant worker. It's happened to me multiple times. And I know there's exploited migrant workers in America. I mean, like, now I'm like, when I was young, I was naive and bold. And I kind of have to remain naive and bold because it's the only chance I have. And I really believe in that quote, fortune favors the brave, I think, or bold. And so I don't mean to get into trouble, but I do. And then from there, like I have like really big problems. I'm not in my home country. I'm broke. I don't really have anyone reliable in the US I can call for help. And so, like, I suddenly got to learn languages, learn about the embassy, learn about immigration law, try to hustle up some money, like, get a job. And I'm really good at landing on my feet. Like, one time the recruiting company messed up my visa. Of course they did, because Michael's an idiot. And that wasn't his real name, because Chinese people never use their real names when they're working. And it's tricky, because their names are like blah, 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 blah. And they say, I'm Michael. You're not Michael. Like, so anyways, it's real easy to get screwed when you're abroad. I got screwed a couple times, and I always had to get real resourceful how I do things. In Asia, they don't pay monthly. I had to just drop that, start negotiating right away. Like, look, can you pay me today just this one time? And like, and then we can get on a monthly schedule. Like, I had to start negotiating. And I did pretty well. I went from like $35 in Cambodia after getting kicked out of China for Michael's dumb error, to having my own apartment and a job. And in Cambodia, the people will make like maybe 100 for the month. I was making like 1,000 for the month, which, I got my American brain, so I'm not grateful. That's a lot of money. And like in a month's time, I was sleeping in pretty good money. I had pretty good money. I was doing way better than the locals, because my American passport does give me a unique advantage abroad. In New York, because I'm not bilingual. See, how will I problem solve that? I probably are going to need to learn some like Spanish, to be honest. Like, life is difficult. Better learn to problem solve.
Right. That's a lot of information to take in. So you were in China, and they messed up the visa. So you ended up in Cambodia, and you were able to find a job and you were able to negotiate to a point where you were making a lot more money than what you were supposed to make, right? Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's the best way of explaining someone who, like, on the fly could problem solve. That was pretty good. I would have panicked. I was in this situation, to be honest. Like, I panicked when I was in the Bronx and I didn't have my phone and anything. I panicked then. Imagine if I was in another country, then I'll be in trouble. But that was good. That was really good, actually. That's actually props, because I can't picture myself doing none of that.
Hold on, I panic more when I'm in the Bronx too. America's a whole different story. I
Right?
I went a long time feeling safe as a woman with no real people, no real money, no real resources, because I was abroad. Where I was abroad was fairly safe. I'm never out here. Now I'm worried all the time. If I got something, people are gonna steal it. If I'm too cute, people are gonna punch me. Just so many things can go bad. Like, I was literally walking in New York today. I was like, I gotta get out of here, because this is a death trap, and I can't help it. It's like boom, 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 boom. So much crime in this city. And then with America, like, honestly, like, the crime for me, it's like a problem. It's very, because it's intense. Like, and I don't like hearing this all the time. I really don't.
Right.
We'll pause then. And we're now on to prompt 13.
It's a lot of these now. There used to be like one.
So we're going to play the game one more time. You've got the format down right now. So just take a quick moment to look at your lists.
They get weirder and weirder. All right, then I guess. I don't even know how to act this out. I have, I got 20 fingers. That's odd.
Okay, well, that's a lot of fingers. I guess we're gonna play patty cake.
You ever seen the guy from Spy Kids? The guy with the hands? I don't know if you've seen it.
No, but I have seen Spy Kids. It's pretty cool.
Your turn.
I see 10 stars.
Wow, that's very odd, because there's a lot of stars out in the sky. The glue is sticky. Sticky.
Awesome. The bark is rough.
The bark?
The bark.
It's rough. The grass is short. Very short.
Good. Someone must have just cut the grass. That's awesome. The tree is tall.
Can you climb it?
I can definitely climb it.
The snail is sluggish.
Let's pour salt on it.
That's messed up.
The can is cylindrical.
Cylindrical. I mean, to be expected. Oh, wait. So, oh, I thought the top was cylindrical. That's weird. The globe is spherical.
And some people think it's flat. The box is heavy.
Must be a lot of stuff in there. The morning is chilly.
I like when it's a little chilly. She ran across the street.
Must be trying to catch the bus.
Oh,
The fence goes around the garden.
good. I don't want the weasels eating my plants. He is sewing a button on his shirt.
A button?
Yeah, he's sewing it up.
I haven't met a person that knows how to sew properly.
I definitely need to learn.
Oh. He is mixing the ingredients.
Ingredients for what?
For a potion, of course.
Let's see, you're trying to cast a love spell so someone will go on an all-day date with you. So, he's sketching a design.
He's sketching?
Yeah.
Oh. She is folding the laundry.
That's wonderful. What a nice lady.
He's illustrating a design.
Is he talented?
I hope. Better be good.
Yeah, he's sketching a design. I think that's all.
And we'll pause there. We are now up to prompt 14. And for this one, participant A, you are the initiator. You can begin when you're both ready.
Describe a time when I went out of my way to help someone or in need, even if it's a small kindness. I'll probably say there's not a specific story. It's just me in general. I just like to like when I see someone cry or see someone like not in a good mood, especially when I know them and I sort of understand how they are in the everyday scenario. Where they're like always like energetic and stuff like that. And you sort of have that mood shift. I sort of like could read it. I sort of like just ask questions or ask what happened, because I feel like people don't tend to ask people what's going on at times. And yeah, it's just those things that I usually do. Like I see people crying, I just sort of ask them what's up, or ask someone who knows what's up, like what's up. And based off what they tell me, I sort of like find a way to cheer them up. I remember one time, like in high school, there was this girl I knew. She was crying like throughout the day, and every time I saw her throughout school, she was crying. And when I had her in my gym class, she was still crying. And I at some point I asked like, "What's going on?" And they just said, "Oh, like he found out her boyfriend was cheating with her, or whatever." And she's a nice girl. I knew her for a while, and she's a nice person. So before they took attendance, I sort of just walked up to her and just hugged her. And I don't know why I did that actually, but I just hugged her. And I remember my teacher noticed it, and she said, sometimes you're actually a good person, because I tend to not really I tend to be silly most of the time, but when I see those scenarios where people are crying, I sort of tend to like try to cheer them up, because I don't know, I just sort of like feel bad, like how you like if you're crying in public, it must mean that it's something rough. So yeah, it's just that.
That's really nice of you, and I'm sure you cheered her up a lot. I definitely think a small acts of kindness can have a big impact on a less personal note. I used to like work at McDonald's, and my customers would do small acts of kindness for each other through the drive-through. Like, oh, pay for their breakfast on me, and then the next person would do it, and then sometimes it would turn into like a little chain reaction, and it created like, let's talk about the energy. It created amazing energy is what it
Right.
did. And not only did it make someone's morning, but then another person's morning and another person's morning. And now I'm not just working at McDonald's. I got a whole act of kindness train coming through here. And it's like really, and man, $5 to like someone who don't got $5 is like, a lot. It's a lot of
Right.
love. And then people always think about money, but sometimes just telling someone they look cute, like will boost their confidence for the whole day. So like
Right.
acts of kindness are words too, and like and you know, some people need hugs. Give them a hug. That's an act of kindness. It doesn't always got to be material. Like you said, hug.
Yeah, I agree. I had those scenarios too where like at my job, customers that you don't sort of like expect to like stretch out a hand, they do. And it's sort of like, wow, like actually happens, You don't really because you're so used to like people being like minding their own business. So like when it does happen, when someone actually goes out of the way and be like, oh, I'll pay for this since they can't afford it, it really shows that there's actual people that actually are kind in this world. And I feel like that's a very like a vision that people can't picture nowadays. And it's there. You just gotta find it. But yeah.
Pause there. And we're on to prompt 15. And participant A, you are the initiator for this one again. So when you're ready, you can begin.
Describe a situation. Once again, it's not. I think a time where there was a time where I felt like it was a challenging moment was when I joined this job right out of COVID. Like there was a certain time where like people weren't coming in because they wanted to stay home. They were still receiving checks or whatever, and they just needed people. And my aunt hit me up saying, "Oh, can you work here for a couple days until people start coming in?" I'm like, "Fine, I needed money. I'm just off. I'm sure." I take the job, and I'm there for like 2 months. It was an easy job. Like no one was there, and no one was, it was empty. And once people started coming in, they decided to put me in as a regular, and people sort of felt intimidated because I'm this young kid who's just learning the ropes, and they're just this old crew. It's like they thought it was a change of the guard type thing, which wasn't the case. I'm just there just to stay there for a couple bucks. And it was hard because they would always try to find ways to people view me as a bad person, right? They would say, "Oh, he messed up this. Oh, he didn't do this," right? And it's hard working with them knowing they're doing this behind your back, right? Like they're smiling at you, but at the same time they're telling the boss, "Hey, he's doing this, 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 and this wrong." Like you could tell me to myself, I could learn, but instead they decide to just snitch on me, I guess. But the thing that got me mad was that all of that was a lie because at the time I used to work with the boss himself, right? He basically took a liking to me and he put me under his wing and sort of taught me the ropes. And like when he heard these things, he said it was a lie because he had worked with me the whole entire day, the day before, and it's like there's no way. And that's when I realized I told my mom about this because why not, right? And she just told me, hey, like in the workspace, there's always like that. Like there's some people that just have that envious like personality where they always want to have someone who they feel intimidated towards. They always want to have that person like below them, right? And that's what they try to do. And it's just like it was hard for me to talk to them every day and say how the day went when they know they're doing that. But hey, that's life. You learn that as you grow up. And yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I didn't have that kind of perception, and I'm older than you.
Mhm.
That's a lesson like I'm still struggling to learn. And you know, like I don't know what it is about me, but like it's taken me a long time to realize like the world is like a little malevolent. Like for some reason I don't accept that. Like I'm a rose-colored glasses person, and I'm always like trying to. Honestly, if it wasn't for blind optimism, I probably would be dead. So like I'll keep my blind optimism, but it's gotten me into like a lot of trouble. There's a lot of snakes and scorpions out here, and then you know like the change of the guard. I've never heard that before, but like yeah, a lot of people have been intimidated by me. You know, like and I'm the oldest and the most out of shape and the most crappy version I've ever been.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, so like especially when I was younger, I was just pure fire and energy and yeah, people were intimidated, but I never heard of it as like change of the guard, and no one will ever come up to you and say, "Hey, I'm being a cunty little bitch, throwing you under the bus because I'm jealous of your resume and I don't want you to have my promotion or my job." So fuck you. No one will ever come up to you and say that, but it's good you're aware of that because that's a lot of perception
Mhm.
to have at 22. That uh, you know, I really didn't have it. I still struggle to have it. To accept it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like yeah, it's just those things that I guess people learn as they get new jobs and stuff like that. I learned that. Luckily, I was able to learn that at a young age because I got that job when I was like 20. So yeah, so it was nice. It was nice knowing that I'm able to sort of cover my back now, because you never know when someone's out to get you. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, fight fire with fire. Like I used to be a peacekeeper or whatever, middle child. But now I'm like, oh man, I'm so ready just to break a nose. And my thought to myself was, why wasn't I doing that sooner? Because they teach you not to. What's bad? Nah, they're trying to break my nose.
Right, right. Yeah, I got you.
Pause there. And we're now up to prompt 16. Just to let you know, we have less than 15 minutes remaining of the session.
Okay.
And participant A, you are the initiator for this one. So when you're ready, feel free to begin.
A time where I felt like I wish I had more resources and support to help someone. I feel there was this one time when I was a kid, like 13, 14. Well, this was a big moment actually, when my grandfather passed away, right? Like I said, he was a big figure of mine and stuff like that. And I couldn't really like express how I felt during that time because I didn't have the understanding of death, right? I didn't understand it properly. Like I had people die beforehand, but I didn't really feel it, right? But when he died, I felt it, but I couldn't react to it. And I knew because my first reaction was find my mom, right? Like my mom, she went to sleep that night thinking like her dad is fine, and she went to work like that thinking her dad is fine, just for her dad not to be fine. Like he woke up and next morning came and he didn't wake up, and my first thought was I gotta find my mom. I gotta tell her myself. I can't have someone else tell her at her job because maybe something would happen, right? And I at the time I didn't know how to like find find a way to contact her because I wasn't really like the person I am now where I know where she is at every single moment of my day, have her location, I have people to call in case something happens, right? I could call them instead of calling her directly. So back then I didn't have that. I didn't have the contacts. I didn't have the only way to contact her was to call her, but I can't tell her in the phone. That's insensitive. And yeah, it was just like one of those moments where I wish I was a little older and I wish I had like more of a common sense to have people around her numbers, to be able to call them and tell them, hey, can you bring her home and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just one of those things you learn in life that you wish you had like more common sense, more common knowledge, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. But yeah.
I think it's like really wonderful that you're so thoughtful to where your mother would receive this news, and how she would receive it. I think it's really awesome that you're proactively looking and for her and trying to tell her it in the most delicate way. I think you're a real thoughtful kid. I think you got a lot of perception, young man. I think you got a lot of perception. I don't know if that comes from New York City or what, but like I think you have a lot of perception that a lot of people don't have ever. Like I think you're, and then for the youth, the young, especially young males, like they're no, like so. I think you're really mature. I think you're really perceptive, and I think like I don't know, make a greater impact. I think you're gonna make a great impact in your life because you're
See, like that's like I don't know how to react to that because I don't really get that much what's it called?
you got a good heart. So that goes far. Goes far in a world where they lack. And the people, there's some people remember forever, even if they only met him for a second. So and that comes from having a good heart.
Right. I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, it was a moment that you think about. Like, I wish it was just one of those things that unfortunately happened, and I wasn't prepared for it. But yeah, it's just terrible. And unfortunately, I wasn't able, and I got my consequence of it because she found out through Facebook of all things that her father died because people had heard news and they were already putting condolences on their profile and stuff like that. And I remember she was at during lunch and she just received a phone call saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry that he had passed." And she didn't even know, and it was a whole thing. And it's like, thank God it was at her break instead of like her working because you never know. Some people take that stuff like those news to heart and they either faint, could be crying hysterically, and they could be in a bad position where they could fall or stuff like that. It's just thankfully like it was at lunch at least, but yeah, it's just unfortunate.
Pause there. Move on to prompt 17. And for this one, it's a little different. You are going to make up a completely fictional tale together. So making up a story about whatever you like. You're going to alternate every couple of sentences or two, building upon what the other person has said. And again, a completely made up story about absolutely anything you like. Participant A, you will begin with the words last week when you're ready.
Right. So last week, this guy woke up in a hurry.
Oh, he was in a hurry because he was going to Times Square to meet his girlfriend, Minnie.
But as he woke up, as he was going to downstairs, he realized his car was gone.
Yeah, and then, it was a big problem because someone stole it, but he decided he still has to get the Minnie, so he was like, I'm going to deal with this later.
So he called up an Uber and he gets on the Uber and he's driving. All of a sudden, the car broke down mid-highway.
Right, and so this guy's like, now he's thinking that, the universe is trying to keep him away from Minnie because he don't understand the car, now this. He's like, I don't know if I should see my girlfriend anymore.
He quenches it for a second, but then realizes that's the girl of his dreams. He needs to see her today because he had something in his pocket.
And so he calls another Uber to pick him up at the roadside.
The Uber picks him up, and tells him he can't reach it. There's a bunch of highway. He advises him to take the train.
And, he gets a little pissed off because, this day ain't going according to plan, but he is determined to get to his girl.
As he's going down the subway, he receives a call from his girlfriend, and he answers.
Hey, babe, I've been waiting for you for, an hour and a half. I'm thinking, you don't respect me.
He chokes up a bit and says, I have a story for you that you won't even believe. Just please give me some more time.
Okay, so we've had to talk about this before, which is my time is important and I've already been waiting on you. So I'm annoyed.
We can pause there.
Okay. I was getting good, man. I was getting good. I was very quick with it.
To prompt 18 and participant B, you are the initiator for this one.
Are we still doing the last week?
No, we're doing 18 now. Prompt 18.
Ugh. I don't know. I have this feeling I should be famous, and I'm sure a lot of people in New York City have that feeling because it's it's like the dream, and we all got our egos, and we all grew up watching Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie playing Kicky Face and Kissy Face and Mr. Smith. We all wanted that for a little bit, and then but what's putting it off is that I tell myself to be practical, and then I don't even fit into practical roles. I pursue my time chasing things I don't want. And that's probably the biggest waste of time is to chase things you don't want. But, people end up doing that because they tell themselves they need money, and we do. But you will be dead one day, so you better really start to prioritize. That's what I'm learning.
So is there a field you want to go to to become this famous person? Or is you want to be a writer? Screenplay?
Yeah, I kind of I'm just I've always been diverse, very diverse, and by that not only ethnically, but just my interests, and I don't like being lumped into a box. I hate when everyone's like, what's your degree? Oh, because I'm an idiot. I'm so limited to only this piece of paper because I have an art degree. I couldn't possibly do anything else or know about anything else. I'm an idiot in every area.
So you want to be a person of all trades, basically.
I mean, there's especially in entertainment, you need writing, you need music, you need film, you need design.
So you want to have all that to yourself. That way you could really give your own touch to it.
I think the big goal would be able to make a movie, but that seems like so far away that I don't even know how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I get that. I feel the same way. Like I feel like I want to be in the entertainment type business, right? Not necessarily like an actor or anything like that. No, 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 no. But just sort of like I want to have that same feeling that I go in. I just feel like people around me know that it's gonna be a good day, right? It's gonna be a good time, right? So I get you. And but once again, so what's holding you off from that? Like, do you feel like it's just sort of like
Um,
money wise, or is like more of
maybe
a
money, probably money. And then like
do
I don't know,
you?
I really hold on to being practical. It's crazy. Like I'm a big dreamer, like crazy dreams, but I'm like a super practical person. Like I've spent a lot of time out of the game.
Mhm.
And honestly, when I put myself in the game, I didn't really make excuses. I just did my own thing. So like if I did that more, I probably could get where I want to go. But I spent a lot of time talking myself into being practical because that's what people do. Like I used to be an artist, and the way I made a lot of money, I didn't even realize how much money I was making at the time until I got a real job and they started taking 25% out in taxes.
Right.
I was making like I was already an entrepreneur because I was slinging my art. Lots of people were buying my art. And then like I graduated and people were like, it's time for you to grow up and get a real job. I never made so little money than when I was working for other people. And nowadays you hear everyone talking about be a successful business owner, be an entrepreneur. And like I was doing that naturally when I was young
Right.
and I didn't even realize it. But when I tried to get back into it as an adult, it was a little harder. And now I get practical. And like once you stop being
So
yourself, it's hard to be yourself.
so why don't you like slowly creep into that back in the day person, you know? Focusing or spreading it out through all these social medias that we have now, you know? I feel like TikTok is a great way to show your art, you know?
I
Don't
agree and disagree. So when I was slinging art, I was doing it in the very material world. This was before like TikTok or
to
whatever, and I was doing it in the very material world. And I feel like lots of people think they're gonna make money on social media and they don't. And then even people with the big channels, nah,
yeah,
you got to get out there still. And
yeah, I get that. It's just I feel like you get your name out much more easier there. You get your name out. Doesn't have to be necessarily to the point where you're famous or anything like that. It's just to have that sort of like have people have your name in the back of their head and sort of remember, oh, this person has great art, and they come back to you and they sort of see your art and they sort of like recruit you to like make some fine work, you know. I feel that's a good way, you know. There's so certain ways you could record your process of drawing and making your designs, you know. You could record yourself doing that process. That's a great way. I've seen so many videos that are very like popular. Do that. You could show like your room where you have your artwork, you know, they could show that. And like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be TikTok. There's a lot of places that you could do it, like Instagram, all that stuff, right?
yeah,
Just throw your name out. Just and people say, oh, there's not, it takes forever. As long as you do it every day, it's fine. It's gonna hit eventually, you know. It's like hitting the lottery when it comes to like social media, you know. There's people that just create a video and boom, millions of views. You know, it's just hitting the lottery. You gotta get lucky. But as long as you like keep consistently doing it, you know, it's bound to happen.